This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'd like to call the village board to order for Tuesday, October 27th. Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams.
Here.
Trustee Paul.
Here.
Trustee Zerbal. Here. Trustee Kabaki. Here. President Kardowski.
Here. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I would like to recuse myself from wards 11 and 12.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number 5, we are going to have village trustee interviews. First of all, I'd like to say it's great to see so many people sitting out in the audience that want to get involved in local government. Thank you all so very much for wanting to do this. What we're going to do, the interviews just a little bit different tonight. We're going to start with the first ward that resigned, which is 11 and 12, and then we're going to go in the order that the applications came in. So our first person is going to be Mark Williams. So we're going to do the interviews just a little bit different than we have in the past. We're going to give you 2 questions, and while answering, please incorporate your thoughts for why you should be the candidate selected for this opportunity. There will be a 3-minute time limit. Number 1, I will ask both of them at the same time. Why do you feel you are the most qualified candidate to serve the residents of Ward 11 and 12? And tell us your views on the services offered by the Village of Ashwaubenon, and what is the one thing you would change upon becoming a trustee?
Okay, well, my name is Mark Williams. I was a trustee in Ward 7 and 8 for 14 years. I think I served my constituents very well over that period of time. Before that, I was on the school board for 26 years as well. So I know Ashwaubenon. I know what's happening in Ashwaubenon. I have been active since 1989 in the politics in Ashwaubenon. We, as a village, have come a long ways. We've done a lot of things, from doing the auditorium pool and community center jointly when I was the president of the village school board at the time. And so I think that it's my past experience on the board and what we've been doing. I know the people, I know what the issues are in Ashwaubenon, what we've been dealing with on the village board for the last year or so, or some of them are even longer. So again, I think that's the reason why I should be considered as the new village trustee in wards 11 and 12. What was your other question, Mary?
Okay. Tell us your views on the services offered by the Village of Ashwaubenon, and what is the one thing you would change upon becoming a trustee?
Well, change doesn't happen that quick in village government, I can tell you that. I know that for sure. There's a lot of things that are that we're working on. I mean, from the developments that are happening, that's probably the biggest thing right now, you know, that the biggest issue that we have to face. I don't know if I change anything with them, right, that the issues that are happening right now, but there's a lot of things that are being worked on, but and they'll make changes happen as we go. I'm trying to think of something that that's something new that you guys would, you know, that we're thinking about right now. So I mean, there's nothing that I would really change. There's a lot of maintaining, growth, some of the different things that we're only 9 square miles, so we have to go up and have to look at the different developments for what we need for the residents and businesses to be successful.
Okay. Do you want to add anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Our 3 minutes is up, Mark. Thank you. Okay, the next person in wards 11 and 12 is Tracy Fluke.
Same questions?
Same question. Do you want me to repeat them for you?
Please.
Okay. Why do you feel that you are the most qualified candidate to serve the residents in wards 11 and 12? And tell us your view on the services offered by the Village of Ashwaubenon, and what is the one thing you would change upon becoming a trustee?
All right. Personally, I've lived in Ashwaubenon for 27 years. My husband and I moved here and raised our family here. Our daughters went to school at the Ashwaubenon School District. I worked for the Village of Ashwaubenon for about 12 years. And my husband and I own a small business in the Village of Ashwaubenon. I also have 30 years of municipal government experience. I have served as a Parks and Recreation professional for many of those years, as well as a municipal administrator for the last 2 communities that I worked with for the last 10 years of my career. While working for the Village of Ashwaubenon, I was the Parks and Recreation director, came here in 1993, and had a really great department that I was able to lead and move forward. At that time, the village was really growing, not as much as spreading out, but really starting to offer a lot of different things. We also added at that time a village administrator. Steve was hired, and having an administrator to work with allowed me to not only get involved in the Parks and Recreation field, but take on a lot of other projects and learn a lot more about government. So my 30 years of experience living here for the last 27, I believe bring a lot of different insight into the community, and also have a lot of background that I can bring to help the community move forward. As far as changes in the community, since I have been gone, I left here in 2005, there have been a lot of changes in the community. I think the biggest thing right now that the village is working on, or has the biggest challenge that I see from the outside, is the replacement of 2 key positions within the village administrator and also the clerk treasurer. With Pat leaving, it's leaving a big hole. He's been here for quite a while and does a great job. So those are the 2 key things I think that the village really will have a challenge on. And with my background and all the years of personnel management, personnel manuals, hiring, firing, disciplining, I think I can help the village as they move forward with those 2 key positions. And one other thing, I've worked for the village for 12 years. The village was very good to me. I enjoyed working here. They gave me a lot of great experience. Steve was a great mentor for me, as well as other administrators that I had the pleasure of working under. I've been thinking about running for a trustee for a few years, and when this opened, I thought it was a good way to get my foot in the door and see if it was something that I really wanted to do and spend my time doing. So not only would I like to do it, but I think it's a way to give back to the village for all the years that I worked for them. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Yep.
Okay, the next person up is virtual, David Miller. So,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, David.
So I apologize.
Go ahead.
I apologize in advance for the circumstances. I was traveling today and had a plane issue. So I did hear the questions, and I'll go ahead and jump into that. First, I guess I don't know that I would say that I'm the best candidate for this position. I don't know enough about the other candidates, and I don't know enough about what the village board is looking for as a complement to the team. I will say that with my background, that it extends to IT leadership, medical clinic leadership, change management, project management. I would bring possibly a unique perspective on how we can facilitate change through the village that may be necessary, and to help be a conduit for the different parties. That leads me into what items I might change if I had the opportunity to be appointed to this village board. I would say that there are a couple things that I think, one, my facilitation and collaborative skills would be a complement to, and that goes with the challenges public safety union has had with our previous village manager, and expressed their concerns to the village board. I would love to have the opportunity. I do know a few of those gentlemen and ladies that are public safety officers. I would love to be able to be a conduit to help get a great relationship. The village needs trust in their public safety organization, and that incident and some of the things that are transpiring through that may have degraded that a bit. So I would love to be a conduit for that. Another area of concern for me probably would fall within the areas of empty businesses that we have: the Shopko building, the Yonkers building, the Menards building. The village did some creative work approving the Epic Event Center to replace the space at the Gordon's building. And I think we need to continue to explore unique and different venues so that we can get that space filled and provide some jobs for our village residents, our constituents, and also the tax base associated with that.
Okay. Did you want to add anything else?
Nope, I should be good. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And then our last candidate for wards 11 and 12 is Dave Mather. Hi, Dave. Do you want me to repeat the questions?
Please.
Okay. Why do you feel you are the most qualified candidate to serve the residents in wards 11 and 12? And tell us your views on the services offered by the village, and what is the one thing you would change upon becoming a trustee?
I think you have some tremendous candidates for this position. Obviously, I know of Mark and I know of Tracy. Most of you know I've worked for the village for 28 years as a public safety officer. Been retired 5 years. Apparently I don't do retirement very well. I stayed retired for about a month. So I feel like I need to be involved, and I've always felt like I need to be involved in this community. I've lived in the village since 1988. I've lived in Ward 11 for the last 26 years. I'm very proud of the village. I grew up in Madison. I had no desire to raise children in Madison. I think we have a tremendous school district. I think the village has been tremendously progressive. When I moved here in '88, I was told that we were landlocked, that the village couldn't grow anymore. At the time, they'd done a tremendous job with developing the industrial park, and they were way ahead of the schedule with the TIF districts. And the village has always found a way to continue to grow, and they've maximized their assets in the village, and I'd like to see that continue. Through my experience with public safety department, I obviously know the geographic makeup of the village. I've been to all the corners, but I also know the societal makeup. I know the people, the sections of the village that might struggle with their next car payment, where they're going to get their rent. I know the people the parts of the village that have never worried a day about any money issues. So I think I think I have a real good grasp of the community, the population and the sectors. And I'd like to continue to work with the village. Again, it's having lived here for 32 years, it's by choice. Obviously, I haven't had to live here for the last several years, but I have no desire to leave. And I come from a long line of public servants. My parents were public servants. My wife and my children are both in the public sector, and it's something that it's important to us. What do I think the village has done well? I've already alluded to it. They've been ahead of the game with their TIF districts, developing the district, developing business, which offsets the tax load for the residents.
3 minutes left, Dave, not to rush you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll give you all a minute to look over your notes, and then we could entertain a motion. Decide what you'd like to do.
Madam Chairman, while we're looking over our notes, question I have, the people that we have in the audience that are applying for this position, could they leave the room while we do our voting?
That would be up to them. There's nothing that we can do to specifically enforce that.
So if they'd like to leave the room, they can leave the room, otherwise they can stay in.
Okay.
So. Okay,
All right. Looking over the applications, we've got some good applications here. Mark, we know you've been around a while. Tracy, you've been through all the hoops and whatever in public service for a number of years. It's our job to find the best qualified person for these both positions that are vacant right now. I wish the public would do it. I don't feel, I feel comfortable in making a decision, but I'll be glad when the public will be able to do it in next April, whoever wants to run for that position. So looking at the qualifications for the people, I would have to make a motion that we go with Tracy Fluke.
okay. Do we have a second?
I would second that. I just would also like to say that we've got some very, very qualified people here, not only for districts 11 and 12, but for 7 and 8. The good news is we've got some very, very good qualified candidates, and it was very impressive. I don't think I've ever seen a group more impressive than what I've just seen here in a short period of time. And with that, the bad side is only one person in each one of those districts will be selected to be a trustee. But I just want to say, wow, you've got some great qualified people here that it's very, it's not easy to make the decision to select who we do select.
I would echo that. We do have a lot of very qualified candidates, and I think it was about 17 years ago that I was sitting in one of those chairs, and I interviewed for this position with 2 other people, and I did not get it. But I did get appointed to the Christmas decoration committee, but I did not get the trustee position. So, you know, whoever doesn't get either one of these positions, you know, I hope whoever wants to, that they will run and let the voters decide. So.
I agree with everything that's been said, especially Mary's point at the end here that I hope everybody here, if they're interested in this position, reapply or joins the, enters the election come spring. Unfortunately, we had I think most of us up here, if not all of us, agree that we needed to fill this move forward, to make some decisions, but every one of these applicants was more than qualified, and at least I'm comfortable knowing that the voters will be able to decide come spring.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations, Tracy.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Tracy Fluke, having been appointed to the office of village trustee, wards 11 and 12,
Having been appointed to village trustee wards 11 and 12,
but have not yet entered
but have not yet entered
the duties thereof,
the duties thereof,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Okay. Thank you.
You would just sign here, please. You.
You're right up there, Tracy.
I can set your microphone down there if you want to be distanced from Trustee Kabaki. If not, there you go.
Okay, we now have the trustee selection for wards 7 and 8. Again, we are going to go through the interviews by the way the applications came in. So the first one is Jay Krieger. Jay is on remote. Are you there, Jay? Are you there, Jay?
Yes, I apologize for that. We are basically, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida at the end of a runway.
Oh.
And that plane went over exactly when I flipped off a mute. So because I know the way these fighters take off, you might hear another one shortly. But anyhow, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do this interview for the job, and especially since I had planned vacation at the time we were camping down in Florida. So thank you so much. As far as the two questions go, my qualifications, I've lived in Ashwaubenon since 1963. I grew up in Ashwaubenon, went to Ashwaubenon High School, have taken part in many of the Ashwaubenon activities, youth activities, as well as other activities within Ashwaubenon, being the alumni president up until this past year. Currently, I'm the varsity baseball coach at Ashwaubenon High School. I also have a lot of networking connections within the village, the Optimist Club, the Lions Club, the Lionesses. So a lot of connections. I worked in Ashwaubenon for 23 years at Paper Converting Machine Company. What I see myself as being is a strong communicator. Anybody who's worked with me knows that I communicate a lot. I work hard on organization. What I feel I bring to the job is that management, organization, listening, powerful listener. One of the things I'd be doing is going out to my constituents, making sure they understand that I am now the trustee and asking them, how do you want to see the village of Ashwaubenon grow? What do you want to see changing in the village of Ashwaubenon? As far as services to be changed, I applaud the direction that the village board and Mary yourself has been taking over the past few years. If you look at our numbers, we've been stuck at about 17,000 people in Ashwaubenon since about 2000 and since about the year 2000. So we haven't been doing growth, but I believe the direction is to start to expand and grow through condominium complexes. What we need to do is make sure that those complexes attract some of our senior citizens within the Ashwaubenon area, so that they're attracted as they want to get out of their homes, don't want to cut the lawn anymore, don't want to shovel the snow. They have a place to go that's affordable to them, which then allows us to bring in another family, maybe a younger family then that brings in those people into the community, and that way starting to grow the community. So I would like to see, if, as far as services, and I don't know if I call it a service, but I would like to see the village heading in the direction of continuing this growth with condominiums. We got to develop our riverfront properties a little bit more. I believe there's more opportunities there. I know there's a lot of great things going on, but I know there's also more things that can be done in that area. We have to continue to do our partnerships with the Packers. We have some other great corporations within Ashwaubenon that we can partner with, being Schneider, Prevea, Bell, and there's a lot of great things that we can be doing with partnerships. But I think it's very, very key that as we grow these partnerships and we do that, that we constantly are communicating and over-communicating to our village residents. And I believe that's one of my key strengths. Anybody who has worked with me, all my families with baseball, all of it when I used to be back commissioner in the baseball organization, those that I've worked on with the Ashwaubenon Blast, all know that communication is one of my strengths and organization is one of my strengths. So I feel that's what I bring to the table. And I would, love to have the opportunity in order to be able to use that, because I do have the time. I am a retired person. Varsity baseball is what I'm focused on right now. And I do have that time for meetings during the day, things like that, if it's with other communities as we start to work with them within Brown County and maybe even within the state. So with that, I want to thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next person up is Chris Atkinson. Do you want me to repeat the question, Chris?
Please.
Okay. Why do you feel you are the most qualified candidate to serve the residents in Wards 7 and 8? And tell us your views on the services offered by the Village of Ashwaubenon, and what is the one thing you would change upon becoming a trustee?
I've lived in the village for 13 years. When I moved to this area, I absolutely love that it's a small community. Me and my wife have raised our family here. I have 2 small children in the school districts. My daughter plays in Ashwaubenon softball. The tournaments are amazing. The community feel that we have is just second to none. I feel that I have a very, very vast knowledge of all different aspects of the village, from construction to real estate to business ownership, to just about anything. I own and operate a small business here in the community. I'm very rarely ever am I actually traveling, so I'm usually available at any given point for any type of special meetings we may have. As for, well, also for the past 2.5 to 3 years, I have been serving on the site plan committee and as an alternate on the zoning board of appeals, so I feel that I do have a little bit of background here with the village. I feel that for me to be able to go and talk to the residents to see what their views are, and then come back and report and possibly come up with ideas to change the direction or continue the direction that we're growth, would be an ideal position for me.
Okay.
As for the services we have, our services are second to none. We have, right down to our refuse collection, large item pickup. That stuff is all amazing. The village does a great job with that. It's very, very nice to see a new police chief come in here. For actual services, I would like to see body cams on those guys to make their job much easier. As for changing anything else in the village, as Mr. Krieger said, there is a lack of senior housing. That is one thing I would like to see change. And also, I would like to see change possibly figuring out what we have to do to get more houses in the 4-bedroom, 2,000 square foot, single family, so that way we have young, middle-class families not moving out of the village. I have multiple friends of mine that are actually searching outside because they cannot find what they want in here. I feel that is probably the largest item that I would like to see worked on.
Okay. Anything else?
No?
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one up is Brad Reichelsberger. Hi, Brad.
Thank you. How are
Would you
you?
like me to repeat the questions?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you're probably going to hear a lot of the same answers with all the qualified candidates. I'm afraid that some of my answers are going to be repetitive, but before I answer that, I do want to thank all of you existing trustees and past trustees for your service to the village. My wife and myself, we moved into the village over 20 years ago, specifically for two main things. The school district, we wanted our kids to be part of the school district, and also what we felt was a strength in the protective services area. So although I don't have any current political experience or government experience, I feel that my experience working at the financial institution I do that's based in the village has given me firsthand experience of strategic planning, and that's an opportunity, I think, for a village with some of the challenges that we do face, specifically being landlocked. And how do we really make this community a community of choice for individuals that want to come in and live in the village? So as I mentioned, I applaud the school district, I applaud the protective services, police and fire, and an opportunity that we really have is to once again look for opportunities for more housing, a more diversified housing, whether we're talking age, whether we're talking ethnicity, to really make this a true community of choice. As I mentioned, I don't have any government experience, but the various boards that I have served on, whether it's on a state level or even on a national level, has given me that experience, like I said, to do strategic planning and listen to individuals. I have a very strong background in officiating, sports officiating, which for me is a huge asset because you're never going to make people happy. So it's forced me to listen to people, hear both sides of the story, and help make a decision when it may not even be my favorite decision, but it's the common decision that needs to be made for the betterment of everybody. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Okay, the next person up is Drew Keele.
Excellent.
Would you like me to repeat the questions?
I will be all right, thank you.
Okay.
So there are certainly many qualified candidates here today, and I believe that I do have some strong qualifications, specifically when it comes to some of the most contentious and important issues within developing the village. Previously, I had been employed as a housing market analyst in Sun Prairie for several years. Through the course of that work, I specifically worked on multifamily, senior, and affordable housing developments, which led me to be involved with the City of Sun Prairie through the Downtown Steering Committee there, the Comprehensive Planning Committee, and the Affordable Housing Committees there. Sun Prairie, much like Ashwaubenon, is going through some large development, economic and growing upwise. Therefore, those issues were quite contentious there. I have intricate knowledge of TIF, both from the work experience and from the municipal service there. So I believe that those are some strong areas. There are also very upcoming issues in the village as well. As an individual that prepared those studies, I can certainly tell you that there is demand within the village. Additionally, so I grew up in Ashwaubenon with several of your kids. I know many of you. Through that, I've very recently experienced the village services. Though I did move away for 3 years and for college, I recently found myself back in the village, drawn back for why the reasons everyone else lives here. The village is great. The services here are second to none. Certainly, this was the place that I chose to come back to begin my family and raise it here. For those reasons, there's not many services I would change inside the village. There's currently exemplary. I think the biggest area that could change is furthering on the economic development that's already occurred. That service to the tax base is what benefits everyone that lives in the village. Really, it's just a will to serve, and I'd be more than pleased and gracious to be on the village board. Along the line of public service now, even though I might be young, it would be the world to me to be on the board. So that is what I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and next up is Kerry Blyde. Hi, Kerry.
Hello.
Would you
I
like
know
me to
you don't need
repeat the question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
So why am I most qualified? My experiences come from outside of government. I have worked with small companies.
Could you please get up to the microphone?
Oh, yep. I have worked with small companies, large companies, you know, the Schneider sizes, the various ones with project management, diverse teams, working with people outside of the country, working with co-located teams all across the world. That brings me, you know, I come to you with skills in that, to take the diversity, to take all different projects, working on communication, working on the actual breakdown of work. Working in IT, what you'll most often find is people come to you with, I want all of it. I want all of it tomorrow. Honestly, you find that that's just not something that you can deliver. My skills have always been in breaking that down into sizable chunks. In that scenario, you end up working a lot with the actual stakeholders, the people that actually want the work, people doing the work, and it's a lot of negotiation. Personally, I've lived within Ashwaubenon for the last 25 years, raised my family here. I still have kids in the schools. Jay just coached my son. So I do have connections to a lot of the people here currently. Many of you I've crossed paths with over the years, whether it was on long-term planning committees, superintendent searches over the years, various things. My thoughts on the village services, you know, it's amazing to me, long ago when we were looking at the long-term planning for the schools, we didn't have enough kids in the schools. Ashwaubenon, I don't know how they did it, but we pivoted and our classrooms were full again. Back then we were talking about closing schools down. So Ashwaubenon, you know, people want to live here. I also want to live here. I have properties outside of outside of Ashwaubenon. Obviously, we choose to live here instead of with those other services. What would I change? As far as changing anything, I don't come in with any preconceived notions. My goals would be to learn and to determine what needs change, what the people within wards 7 and 8 want changed. That would be my role, not to come in with what I believe needs to be changed. I'm very much about streamlining and being practical, so that's what I would bring.
Okay.
Nothing else. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kerry. Okay, next up we have Kirlin.
Good evening.
Good evening, Cal.
Jotted down some notes here quickly. As far as me being most qualified, not sure that I am. We've had some very interesting people before me, with quite a variety of qualifications. I do, though, have been a resident of Ashwaubenon for 30 years, been in the Ashwaubenon Business Association, been with the Chamber of Commerce. I had a business that I ran here for about 7, 8 years, right on Oneida. I've helped out with different Ashwaubenon youth sports, both in soccer and the baseball and softball. I love this community. I've never been in politics before, so I guess I'd bring a fresh outlook. I'm really good with budgets, both in making them and in keeping them, and I've had real good success at being a team builder, bringing people together to accomplish a stated goal. As far as village services, and several people have acknowledged this also, our services are top-notch. This community is incredible, between the large item pickup, picking up the grass and leaves at the curb. It's awesome. And we not only do that, we've got relatively low tax rates for property taxes, which is just incredible. Just to reiterate, I love this community. What would I change? I really don't have any goals or any set, this is what I got to get done. Like the lady before me, I think I would want to hear what the rest of the ward would see as needs. I don't personally see any specific needs at this point, but with that said, we still need to be looking forward to the future, what opportunities are coming that we don't miss out on those, and I hope I could be a part of that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cal. Okay, we have John Vanderheiden.
Hello.
Hi, John.
As far as most qualified candidate, I'm not sure, again, that I can stack up to a lot of the people that are currently on the board and the past board members. I am, however, a younger voice, could be a very young voice on the board that's been somewhat limited. I'm an engineer, business owner, real estate investor, kind of an outside-the-box thinker, get to the root of the problem kind of guy. I like to solve problems, and I like to hear problems to fix. So I think I could bring a lot of that to the board. As far as what I would change, I do also enjoy the services, as do everybody else, I think, that mentioned or that was up here already. Again, the village is going through a lot of redevelopment and a lot of areas that could yet to be improved. And as someone that is a younger father, and someone that plans to raise their kids here for their whole lives, or at least until they move out, I think that I have the best interest of the village at heart, and I'm passionate about this village.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Tim Watermelon. Hi, Timothy.
Afternoon. I'd like to start with thanking everyone for interviewing me for this position. Speaks great volumes for people's involvement in this community. What makes me the most qualified? Same with, I'm a concerned citizen who wishes to see our community continue to flourish and prosper beyond the means of which it already has. Some time ago, I answered the call to service when I served this great nation as a Marine for 6 years. So upon seeing the announcement for the vacancy for the board, I looked at this as an opportunity to answer the call to serve my community. The services. I'm going to echo what my fellow citizens have said, top-notch. They speak for themselves. I would look to continue to grow the services provided, to sustain them, get better wherever we can. I would like to look at as a top priority to keeping all our residents safe and secure, and not just doing that, but making sure they see it and they know it. Because if they can't see it and know it, they're just words, and that's not what we're here for. I think in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, just as equal a priority needs to be placed on doing whatever we can at the village board level to take care of our kids and our parents. Be it services provided, be it activities for the children to do. We need to do everything we can to take care of them, do whatever we can to stunt the damage done from the pandemic that we've experienced thus far. In closing, I'd just like to thank everybody for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy, for your service.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I'll again give everybody just a minute to go over their notes, and then I'll entertain a motion. Before we start with the motion, I just want to thank every one of you again, like I did before. It is amazing that we have so many people who want to get involved in our local government, and that's just absolutely great to see, because this is a time when government is not always looked upon as a good thing. So thank you very much for wanting to get involved. And if you don't get selected for this position, I do hope that you run next spring so that the voters...
December 1st.
December 1st is when you take out the papers, yes. Okay.
Brett, Mary?
Can I make a quick comment that I'd be more than happy to volunteer for the Christmas decorating.
It was an interesting committee to be on, if I do say so. So.
Sorry, this is a lot to look through.
Again, thank you people for coming. I've never seen so many interested people in being a part of this village that it's a pleasure in meeting all of you. There's not a one of you that are not a good candidate for this position. Like I said earlier, we got to look at who has the experience and what they've done within the village in their past history. Some of you have been involved in a quiet way. I'm basically thinking of people that have been involved directly with things they've done with the either committees or on or with the people within the administration here. So I guess if I have to make a decision, I would make a motion to think or to go with Chris Atkinson for his time he spent with the village on the positions that he's had with us.
Okay, do we have a second? I'll second that to get the vote moving. Okay, we have a motion and a second for Chris Atkinson. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. Nay.
Noes.
It's unanimous?
Any denials?
This is a tough decision to make. You know, there's so many qualified people, and unfortunately, there's only one position to fill, and that's the problem. What was the vote on that?
Well, it was, what, Gary, Chris, and I.
I'll
For
vote
ayes.
no.
Gary, Kristen, you
Any,
were ayes, and
so Tracy, Steve, and Allison, you have to vote.
I said no.
You said no?
I would say no also.
I would say no also. maybe twice as difficult for me just getting to look at this evening. And like everyone said, there's 8 great candidates up here, so it's a little more difficult for me
Okay.
to make a decision.
Okay, so that motion dies. It's a tied vote. So we look for another motion.
I would make a motion to appoint Jay Krieger as the trustee for District 7 and 8.
I would second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Jay Krieger. Any discussion?
I actually, I kind of used a numeric system here, just based on my notes and listening, and I actually had Jay as my top scorer. I would support that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to appoint Jay Krieger. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, well, so it's a 6-0 vote.
Still there, Mr. Krieger?
Thank you, everyone.
If you
I
just,
relish the opportunity.
it's a little unorthodox, but I'm going to provide you the oath of the office. Though you're
Okay.
sight unseen, can you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Jay Krieger,
I, Jay Krieger,
having been appointed to the office of Village Trustee, Ward 7 and 8,
having been appointed to the office of Village Trustee for Ward 7 and 8,
but have not yet entered
but have not yet entered
upon the duties thereof,
upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mary, I just want to say, this was awe-inspiring of seeing all you qualified people here. When you look through your resumes and you look through your applications, if you want to continue to be involved in the village of Ashwaubenon, by all means, continue to do so, be it volunteering on committees or in any fashion or format, running for office. This is a great community. It's got some of the best leadership. It's got some of the best department heads that you could ever ask for out there. And, help us make it to continue to be a top-notch community. We've got some things looking at us right now with commercial development, the big boxes. What do we do there? Senior housing. There are other things too, but between the school district and the village here, in my tenure working for many different municipalities, Germantown, Janesville, Swamico, Chippewa Falls, Chippewa County, I don't know that I've seen a community that's got a better class of citizens and a better class of elected officials and some real great department heads. So this was difficult. There's some, you are an eye-opening bunch of people. Thank you.
And I would like to second that. We're 6 minds up here, 5 of us, 6 of us that, run in April, get your constituents' opinion. We're 6 or 7 people up here. So please do not hesitate to run in April. It is not that scary. You just have to walk around to a couple people. So please, consider December 1st coming in and grabbing your papers. Thank you.
Steve couldn't say it any better. I hope to see all of you running in the April election.
I would also like to add something that since all of you are in Ward 7 and 8, I very much would like to meet with each and every one of you to get your opinions and your thoughts as to the direction of the village. Me being your trustee now for the next few months, I'd love to get your input on that. So I I know that we have the contact info. I will reach out to you and try to set up a meeting, or even if it be virtual with the current COVID situation, to be able to talk to each and every one of you. Because I was very impressed with what I also heard here this evening.
Okay, well, hearing that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. We are done. Thank you.